right, guys, we had to change up the call sheets a little bit because our guest speaker had an early call time. But it is absolutely my honor to introduce Frances Causey. I have worked with Frances several times. She is an amazing boss. She's an amazing woman. Her experience is just on and on and on. So please welcome Frances.
Thanks. Probably half you guys maybe in the room have an early call time, whether it's a regular job or being on the set. But I want to thank Rosie, the greatest line producer in the whole world. Yep, absolutely. For asking me to do this. I do appreciate you moving me up. I live in Tubac also, but I've got an early call time tomorrow. I am here probably, I think, as the director, writer, and producer of Heist, Who Stole the American Dream, as well as the producer of Stardust and the Bandit that Rosie line produced, and so many. I see Fred over there.
Playing in the Arizona International Film Festival.
Thank you. Excellent. It's good to know. Actually, I'm busy out trying to get an agent, so thank you very much. So I think we're going to show a little bit of my movie. My movie just, it actually premiered at the Mill Valley Film Festival, went on to Santa Barbara. We're very fortunate. I mean, we've had festivals at a third screening. The movie is about the destruction of the middle class at the hands of the corporatocracy, with an assist, a heavy assist from politicians and lobbyists. Needless to say, it's kind of striking a chord. I've been working on the movie for 6 years. 6 years. So make sure if you're a documentarian, what you do is you love the subject, you love documentary filmmaking, because little else will sustain you. I don't mean that to be a negative. It's just a reality. I started actually. I don't know. Can we show the? I actually did a 22-minute cut for Occupy Wall Street. Our film, Van Jones is in the movie, and Van has an organization called Rebuild the Dream. And this cut you're going to see, and probably only showed about 5 or 6 minutes, but this cut is going to be shown. There's going to be a nonviolent social change training to 100,000 kids, April 5th and 6th, led by, and they're going to use Heist to give them historical context. Heist is a TikTok, really, of the last 40 years of how policy has been kind of co-opted by a very small number of people, for the benefit of a few at the expense of many. I guess is the way I call it. So, here we go. So, I don't know if we can anybody kill the lights? We'll just watch a little bit of Heist. And
Sorry about that.
it's our website, heist-themovie.com, and I say that because I'm going to jump straight ahead to the marketing and promotion of your movie. You want to have we'll get to this, but you want to have a really great website. As wonderful as Facebook and Twitter is, and we use them immensely. Rosie, you'll remind me because I want to take questions too, but you'll remind me when I'm getting too long in the tooth, as they say. Okay, creation of documentaries. So you guys may know Rogelio Garcia. He's a former news photographer here in town. He is the director of photography and the offline editor for the movie. Fred Porter did the sound mixing on this. Sarah Scher did some editing. This is a lot of Southern Arizona talent went into this movie, and we're promoting it as such. But creation of this documentary, I'll give you the backstory, which is probably almost as interesting as the movie. I hope you'll find itself. I'm a former CNN producer. I'm very interested in current events, geopolitical stuff. I'm a geek basically. All I do is read. I'm a news junkie. So long form storytelling after I left CNN was a natural place for me. Rogelio and I started out going down to the border to Douglas, Agua Prieta. I moved to Tubac. I was stunned by the Border Patrol presence down there. I wanted to understand it. I had never seen anything like it. So Rogelio and I went down. We had gear. We didn't bring it out for 6 months. We went to Douglas and Agua Prieta, and I was very interested in the border story. And we were making a film called Papers, Please, which was about following the money behind smuggling. About 10 hours into shooting material, we had some great shit. I mean, we interviewed smugglers. I got hooked up with a guy who owned a TV station down in Agua Prieta. He wanted my CNN connections. He led me. He made a bunch of money selling two-way radios to smugglers. And I said, all right, you hook me up with smugglers, and I'll introduce you to CNN and try to get you an affiliate. He was washing money that he had made through this TV station. I guess he's also the former mayor of Agua Prieta, but or maybe the current mayor. But anyway, I had a fixer down on the border, a wonderful guy who spoke the language, who understood. So Rogelio and I went down for 6 months before we ever shot a frame. We went down and we got close to the people who owned a hotel restaurant down there. I used to be the film manager at Old Tucson Studios. I think I did that before that. But my point is that this film came out of that. I quickly realized that when I began to look at the devaluation of the peso, I read 20 books on the subject of the world economy and what was going on. And this was 2006. And I looked at the devaluation of the peso and looked at American bondholders had bailed out very, very wealthy Mexican bondholders and left the Mexican middle class kind of holding the bag there. So that took me to Davos, Switzerland, which took me to the restructuring of the American economy. And then what took me back further is peeling back the onion layers. So this is how this documentary was created. I mean, it really only takes two people. I mean, it takes a shooter who can run sound. You're working with ambient light. It's really your ability to set up the story. You know, who do you know that can tell your story in the most compelling way that nobody else had talked to? I mean, we didn't get a chance because we ended up moving on to Heist because, and basically I discovered that that there was a much bigger story that needed to be told, which was that there was something fundamentally wrong with the U.S. economy. Of course, this was driving the need for the low-wage workers, and that's still a very interesting story. I mean, immigration reform is not going anywhere because Democrats and Republicans alike are just terrified of the fringe Tea Party or the fringe groups. Call them what you will. I don't really, like names, or blaming, but it's like call them what you will. They are concerned about being look what happened to McCain when he brought up immigration reform. So there's this whole facet of people that really can make your life miserable if you're a politician, and they want to avoid that. So there's a fundamental problem, and they wish to avoid it. So creating. So I came back and I said, there's a bigger story here. And I want to tell this story, but this is a bigger story. And it took me to Davos, Switzerland, which is where all these guys get together and determine economic policy. And, they're going to bail out, everybody's going to bail everybody out. And they're going to deregulate everything. Politics aside, my story is a fact-based film. I'm a journalist. It's not politics, it's fact. And I would challenge anyone who watches the film. And the film is actually going to be shown at the Desert Sky right off I-19 in Green Valley, April 6th and 7th, which is a Friday and Saturday at 11 a.m. I'm doing it for Southern Arizona. The Loft has chosen to pass on running the film. I'm not exactly sure why. If you guys want the Loft to show the film, let them know. Sorry? Two?
Crossroads.
Yeah, and I'll be honest with you, I'm going to Cleveland next week. We're in the Cleveland International Film Festival. We're running this week in Olympia, Washington. Yeah, no, it's good. And I kind of did Green Valley as a substitute also for for Crossroads. Nate Shelton had told me about that. And so creation, I mean, creation is really just your passion. You know, the cameras, we shot on a JVC HD 100, we shot HD at 720. You know, we had a Sennheiser 900 boom mic, we had the lapel mics. I mean, nothing terribly tricky here. I mean, we offlined on Final Cut Pro. I put up my own money to some degree. I also have had, I'm fortunate, my film has nonprofit status. Try and get a funding partner. They're actually funding partners. I didn't want to go through the hassle of forming a 501c3, so I actually went through a funding partner, and they had the status. People, my film you can donate to and get a tax write-off. This is very important.
You know, we're a nonprofit next time, okay?
Yeah. Are you a funding agent? I mean, you can take donations and process them and write.
I'm the treasurer, and I'll tell you right now.
You'll do anything it takes?
How much do you need?
Right on, man. Connecting the Dots Productions. I'll be honest with you, I've been fortunate. I have had a benefactor who's worked on my previous films. It helped a tremendous amount. Rich people really like to be associated with projects. They want to be a part of them. They don't, I mean, I'm not all rich folks. I'm not against rich people, but these particular people were wanted to be a part of something, you know, and it's a great way to, you know, get a tax write-off and feel like you're, you know, a part of something that's, you know, a higher, kind of a higher good, I guess. So we shot this movie. I can't tell you how many fits and starts we had. You guys know it. You guys know. You got day jobs. No different here. I was the film manager at Old Tucson Studios. We shot a pilot, Stardust and the Bandit, which we're now trying to get an agent for, and it's getting good street vibe, but it just takes a while to get that thing going. I went back to CNN about a year ago and just did kind of a 6-month stint in Atlanta. Which I do not have the stomach for corporate news anymore. I need benefits, I need medical benefits, but not that bad. So I came back to CNN and I said, I gotta finish this movie. And I had about 100 hours. We were shooting the day Lehman Brothers collapsed. I knew I was a story editor at CNN. I was an assignment editor for years. I was national assignment editor. I knew we had a great story. I knew we had a story that nobody else had. And I was hell-bent and determined to get it made. And I spent hundreds of hours with my co-director, who's actually in Berkeley, on the phone, vetting out, you know, trying to whittle down the story, because we had too big of a story. Are you a storyteller? Do your stories have a beginning, middle, and an end? It's that simple. Beginning, you want compelling characters. This is a topical film, because that's where my background is. It's not a character-driven film. I mean, HBO has seen 2 cuts of the film, and they're all, if you want to make a film for HBO, make it a character-driven film. But it's, you know, I have logged tape, I transcribe tape. I want to transcribe tape because it helps me write the story. So I'm a writer, producer, and director. So, you know, we did 8 interviews, for a topical piece, we did 8 interviews in a hotel room a day. You can't believe we were like trying to pull, you pull the flowers off of the, you know, in the lobby, off the table in the lobby to try to get a different background. It really doesn't matter what your background looks like. What matters is what your characters are saying. How do you figure out the characters? I did it through research. I read 20 books on this subject. And and what do you read? You read people I read people, whether it's, whatever the heck your subject is. I read 20 books on people who predicted what's happening right now. These are the same people, right? Muriel Rubini, Dean Baker. These are the same people you guys should be reading to understand what's going to happen 5 years from now, right? So, but I had a long history of being a news editor, and so this was what was interesting to me. It doesn't matter what your subject is. Doesn't matter what your subject is. Before you shoot your first frame, you must think about your audience, and you must think about the business aspect of what you're doing. Because you spend your entire time making this, you put everything you have into it. I put everything I had into this movie. Mind, body, soul, everything. My partner will, I'm close to divorce, but, not really, but, so I put everything I had into this movie. And I was prepared because I had been in the business before. I had done a series for the History Channel on the creation of stock car racing in this country, which is actually a very interesting story. I did a one-off for the History Channel called the Wendell Scott Story. You may know Wendell Scott. Great, wonderful story that had only been told by Richard Pryor in a movie called Grease Lightning. But this gentleman was a hero, and he had never been given his due. And I did an hour for the History Channel. But I wanted to, okay, so how do you make your money back, right? Okay, how do you even break even, right? Okay, so distribution, marketing, and promotion. Two examples. So I made this 5-hour series for the History Channel, right? They didn't want DVD rights. Didn't want DVD rights. Huh? Don't want DVD rights. But that was in the heyday of DVDs. So we thought, well, we'll go and we'll do the Time Life model. The Time Life model, right? Guess how much media it takes. Guess how much media you have to buy to, it's kind of a tsunami effect. You have to buy $20 million worth of media before it's got enough density where people are like, wow, it really clicks. Not going to happen. Okay? So that 5 hours is sitting on a shelf in Virginia, which is a personal sore point to me because it's one of the things I'm most proud of. But I don't actually own the rights. I gave up my rights to that because I did not want to deal with the gentleman who had owned it. I didn't want to look into his books, and I just kind of got bought out. Not for a lot of money, but got bought out because I could say go on. Okay, so let me what I learned from that. I learned a tremendous amount from that very, very bad experience. I'd given my whole life to this 5 hours of television, this 5 hours. One of the pieces aired on Turner South. By the way, we did a 3-year, during Black History Month, we did a 2-year or 3-year license, exclusive license to run this hour. The film cost $250,000 to make. They gave us $35,000. There are 5 companies that own everything you see, pretty much. Fortunately, that's all changing, has changed. It will be changing by the time I walk out of the door. Distribution. Great. I'm going to distribute Heist myself. We had Zeitgeist and Magnolia. So, all that negative stuff aside, you can make a movie, distribute it, market it yourself, virtually free. I had Zeitgeist. We had Zeitgeist and Magnolia. The film is really kind of taken off. We got reviewed in the New York Times by Stephen Holden. We premiered in New York March 2nd. We got a very good review in the New York Times. We've had 30 or so art houses, democratic clubs. We've had people approach us. We are doing a grassroots community engagement strategy. Zeitgeist, Magnolia approached us early on. One of the biggest sales agents in the world approached us and said, I want to rep your film. I want to rep your film. I want to take it to Sundance. We knew our timing was such. We had to let it go at Mill Valley before Sundance. Sundance wanted the movie, and we took. Could have backfired on us if we hadn't had such a timely subject. Could have really backfired on us, but it didn't. It was important that we got the movie out because we knew the economy wasn't going to improve, and it's not going to improve for a while. You guys need to hold on to your cash. Don't invest in the stock market. Cash is king. For me, that's a relative concept. But anyway, So great. Zeitgeist, Magnolia, they can make millions of dollars in revenue, not income, revenue off of your movie. The way they write the contracts, you won't see a nickel. You won't see a nickel off of your movie. Okay, it's a loss leader. Even for big studio films, it's a loss leader. That's just marketing, promotion, and advertising for DVD sales, video on demand. So know the business of filmmaking. And we just announced today, there are many, many levels of marketing and promotion and deals to be made. Do not give your rights away. Do not give your rights away. We just signed a deal with an educational distributor named Bullfrog. Been in the business 38 years. Very well known. Signed a deal with Outlook, A-U-T-L-O-O-K, a Vienna, Austrian-based firm for our international rights. Got our North American rights with a gal in Canada. Do not keep as many of your rights. What happens is people spend so much time making these movies. By the time the business part comes around, they throw their hands up and say, I don't know this, I can't deal with this. They know that. They understand that. They take advantage of that. So after you made your film, you gotta keep plugging and do. You know your film better than anybody. And I can talk to you guys about specifics. Rosie's giving me the rap sign. So I listened to Rosie. She's the woman. So I'm going to stop and answer questions.
When you do a movie like this, you have to get a lot of news footage. Where do you get it? How do you get it? How do you go about it?
Great question. It's a topical film. Boy, I can't wait to do a movie where I shoot all the videos. Cost us $8,000 for that archive videotape, which you haven't seen, which you will see if you come to see the movie. You know, James Rubin, Clinton, actually the presidential libraries, cheap. Cost me the cost of a Beta SP tape. They're so into promoting their presidents, so go to the free sources of video, free sources. All the news agencies, see the problem is only one news agency, ABC News, had aerials of Katrina, which was the most compelling stuff. So I had to go to ABC News for that. It was $60 a second. It's crazy. Don't do a film like this. You can avoid it. Shoot everything rights, going after rights. You know, you have to show a rights file. Although I've noticed with my lawyer, it's a lot less tough than it was 10 years ago.
These news agencies are all bastards, because I'm in the stock footage industry.
Yeah,
when we shoot stuff, like, for example, a year ago when we had Gabby Giffords incident, they wouldn't spend a dime for footage that they wanted from us. Of course, I just wouldn't give it up. Screw it.
And you know what you ought to do? I used to be with CNN. Call 404-827-1500 and ask for the affiliate desk. When something breaks, call and sell them your stuff directly. There's actually people that are brokering that stuff because CNN doesn't want to gather news anymore. They want you to gather news for them.
Right.
So, yeah, 404-827-1500.
404-827-1500.
Yep, and ask for the national affiliate desk, and ask for the person who's covering your region, like Southwest. Like if I had shot, you know, if you wanted to be like a stringer, they will buy that stuff because they don't want to send a crew down. Yeah.
Can you write that number down over there? And can you also post on our website all those the free sources that you were talking about, or the cheap sources, so that everybody?
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of subjective with the particular, content. It just happened that the presidents of the last 40 years, that you can't tell the Democrats and the Republicans apart. So, except in maybe matters of tolerance. I just went to the presidential libraries, and which I knew. I mean, a lot of this, guys, is 25 years of being in the news business. I'll be honest with you.
You said you gotta know the business, right, before you do a video. But you don't think making a documentary with this topic is harder for you to do the distribution just because the topic itself?
Yeah, I would say, except we had the great luck, and I think you make your own luck to some extent. Occupy Wall Street was happening, and we kind of knew it was going to happen. But again, you know, it's my kind of years of being a story editor and knowing current events and knowing what was happening. I knew that nobody knew about, for instance, this Powell memo, which, as I think I said, did I already say this? The New York Times, the headline said in the article by Stephen Holden, the review said, tracing the Great Depression to a memo 40 years ago. Okay, I did lots of research and I found that memo and nobody knew, and it thread my entire film as kind of a roadmap for kind of the coup, if you will, by a very small number of people to take over the economy for their own personal gain. But I read into headlines and I understood the thread. I understood, my production company's called Connecting the Dots Productions. So your content, you got to look at your content and where you think you could sell it, okay? If you want to show it at the Arizona International Film Festival, great. You want to make a film, great. I mean, chances are, I mean, you know, you can make a film, I mean, they're selective, of course, but it's like, you got to make a good film. You got to have a beginning, middle, and end. It's got to be compelling. You know, don't worry so much about topical, you know, versus character-driven. Tell the story that you want to tell, and the rest will happen.
What are the potential revenue streams for a documentary?
Good question. Revenue streams. International sales. Foreign film festivals are much more lucrative than American film festivals. I love film festivals, don't get me wrong, but you give them your content for free. They use your content. I'm going to Cleveland next week. Cleveland's a 36-year-old film festival. They're wonderful, nice people. I'm going there because there's a wonderful evergreen cooperative there that takes chronically unemployed, underemployed minorities. They built a green laundry, and they get municipal contracts. It's a perfect example of a private-public partnership, which we wanted to actually profile that. But we couldn't because of budget. But to answer your question, you got several streams. I mean, this is the hopeful thing. You've got DVD sales, which are still good. You've got video on demand. You've got theatrical. You've got, can be, you know, if you do it yourself. If you've got a topical film that's in the news, you can get earned media. You can go to Boise, Idaho with my film and say, hey, I'm telling you why the economy sucks. You get written up in the local paper. That's earned media. It's not paid media. You've got, let's see, video on demand. You've got digital download. We don't know yet. We might offer our film for free as a digital download. And might sell advertising around it. Television. You know, international television, domestic television. So you've got 6 or 7 possible, but you got to have you got to really have a film. But do it all yourself. Do it from your website. You can go to our website right now and pre-order our DVD. Right now, you can pre-order it. We haven't made the DVDs. We're close to making the DVDs. I know how to make DVDs. I know how to have a fulfillment house to stuff the envelopes. I'm in the process of making T-shirts and caps. There are 2 kinds of power in America: organized people and organized money. So, you know, how are you going to market and promote your film? And it's got to have that common thread. It's got to be something people care about. Why, you know, I used to say the greatest thing I learned from television, it's got to play in Poughkeepsie and Petaluma. It's got to play in Poughkeepsie and Petaluma. Journalist. And it's completely balanced. I've made sure that everyone, by the way, get people to watch your film and give you feedback. Because you want to make sure. I mean, I'm a journalist, that's my training. So I've had, like, for everybody from Tea Party to liberals to progressives to just run-of-the-mill establishment conservatives watch my film and they say, you know, this is, what is the word the guy used? He said, this is disturbingly bipartisan. This is disturbing. My goal is the truth. It's not to, and you get people who are drinking the Kool-Aid, you know, who just will not, you know, this is political, this is political. No, I challenge one person, if they come and watch this movie, to say that this is inaccurate, it's not factual. And I learned this at CNN, if you have a controversial fact, again, it's a topical film, it's not about the pygmy owl, over here in Marana. It's a controversial subject, so you want to make sure that you're right. I've had anything that's remotely controversial in my movie, I have 3 and 4 sources on. And I'll tell you, if you come up to me and say, I think that's wrong, I'll tell you exactly where that was sourced. So, and this is a good point. Information, where do you get your news? Make sure your information is good. Most of it, 99% of it, is really bad, trumped up. It's fun. I guess if you're a politician, I don't know. Yeah.
How do you feel about film markets versus film festivals?
Great question. Heist is currently going to MIPDoc. It depends on your timing. Like we were at IFDA. It depends on your timing. Like Cannes only wants, which is a big market, only wants films premiering there. We made the decision to premiere. So when you're looking at, when to premiere your film, think about the markets. Do you want a sales agent? I didn't tell you about a sales agent who's like, oh, you're the greatest thing since sliced bread. Never heard from him again. Never heard from him again. He was off to Sundance and had better things going on. That's it. Oh, that's it? Okay. She just wants my name. Sorry, 3 minutes. 3 minutes. 3 minutes. Going once. Going twice. Yes.
So, what is the market for a documentary?
Are you a businessman?
Yeah.
Okay.
In terms of the market share compared to, say, the narrative fiction, what's this documentary?
Market share. It's getting better. But, most people still perceive documentaries as like a trip to the dentist to get a root canal. So the market is what you make it. To some degree. I think because the mainstream media has so abdicated any, like Gasland. Who would have heard, who would have heard of fracking if Josh hadn't done that movie, right? So we're feeling it's becoming better. But it's still, we've gotten rejected by lots of festivals, and my co-producer's like, I really wanted to go see my family in Toronto, I can't believe we didn't get in there. And it's like, it depends on, like, when you talk about markets, there's festivals, there's television, there's theatrical. It just depends on how hot your movie is, what, we got rejected by a lot of good festivals, like Berlin, but our cut wasn't ready. So once you finish your movie, you really got to understand where you can go. And I tell you, Peggy Johnson at the Loft is a great source. This woman is, incredibly important in the art house world. She knows a lot of people. So, bounce an email off of her, Jeff, or, when you're making your film, she can kill me for that. Yeah, Fred.
So with the topic of the film that you picked up, are you prepared to
have a bodyguard?
Well, to deal with some political organization, using it as a soapbox or an apple box in certain cases, to stand on and use?
Great, go for it.
But
why would I? Some marketing, if some organization wanted to take my film and show it to a bunch of people. Why would I? You watch too much cable news. I'll be honest with you. If Fox TV, which is a possibility, if Fox TV called me and said, they wanted me to come on and they wanted to bash me and say you're a communist or whatever, bring it on. Bring it on.
But it would happen from both sids, though. You gotta admit.
Yeah, I'm prepared.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Well, I use video. VIP here in town did a lot of my dubs. But we're probably going to have to go to Berkeley. My co-director lives up there. So we're using, I can't remember the name of the firm, but we have, for our big run, where we hopefully have thousands, we haven't decided yet. But you want to make sure you know, that you've got somebody that can deliver. I mean, that's, if you get to the point where you need thousands of DVDs, it's a good problem to have. Yeah, small, VIP, right up the street. VIP. Yep. Tell Amy I sent you.
Okay.
I'm rapping. She's rapping me. My line producer's rapping me. That's it. Thank you guys so much.